This conference will now be recorded.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is Wayne Mitchell, and welcome everybody to the Nacogdoches Chamber of Stakeholders conference call. I want to remind you this call will be recorded and be posted later today on the Chamber's website. I do want to let you know that members of the media have been invited to participate on this call as well, and we welcome them and hope everybody had a wonderful Labor Day weekend and got lots of rest and had lots of fun. We really had a lot going on in this region this weekend. So I'm pleased to welcome this morning our city manager, Mario Canzares. Mario gave a tremendous presentation about a week and a half ago, and the council voted unanimously to support the Capital Improvement Program, or the CIP. He's here this morning to explain the elements of it. And I'm pleased to say that the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors endorsed the council's action and encouraged the investment in our infrastructure. So with that in mind, would you please welcome our city manager, Mario Canzares. Good morning, Mario.
Hey, good morning, Wayne. Good morning, folks. I hope everybody's doing well, had a good holiday. Wayne, just to make sure, because I have two monitors, are you seeing just a full presentation, or are you seeing, what are you seeing? Can you just share with me?
I'm seeing the PowerPoint presentation that's titled Capital Improvement Program.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. As Wayne mentioned, I am Mario Canzares. I'm the city manager here for Nacogdoches. I do have a number of slides I'd like to show, just to kind of give you an idea. All these slides are, and I'm giving you a condensed version because I want to be respectful of your time. This presentation is a modified version of a condensed version that was presented to City Council on the 24th of August. All of those materials, the presentation that was presented and the supporting materials are all on our website. On the front page at www.nactx.us, there's a button that's called Certificates of Obligation. And so if you click on that, you will have all the PowerPoints that were presented to council over the last couple of months, plus all the supporting documentation. And so if it's okay, I want to go ahead and get going. And then at the end, certainly would be happy to open up for any questions of the group. But I will tell you that this material was presented, the full material was presented to the Chamber Board on the 26th of August. And so I appreciate the time, Wayne, that you allowed myself and the staff to be there to fill in the blanks for the board members. So I'm going to get started. Well, I hope I can get started because let me see if I can advance here. Here we go. Kind of give some background of where we've been. When I came on board in August of 2020, one of the charges that was given to me by the City Council was to look at infrastructure. They had recognized that there had been a need to take on infrastructure. Didn't know the extent of what the issues were, but there was also a huge need to take that on. From day one, literally started kind of going through a listening tour with my staff, with the City Council, with members of the community and business to understand what they were experiencing from an infrastructure perspective. Certainly Winter Storm Uri didn't do us any favors, actually exposed some things that we needed to work on. But the long and the short of it is infrastructure has basically been on the forefront of my mind along with our staff's mind. So we, through those many months from the time I got hired to November of 2020, our staff has been working on putting together a level of detail of known issues that we have in our city from an infrastructure perspective. As a result, in November of last year, we dedicated 4 workshops with City Council. These are the dates that we had with them, and we went through extensively, literally every capital project that we knew of, along with and we have all those on the website. Went through every single project in detail with the summarization of what the project scope was, what we estimated those costs to be, and when we would want to take those on. We had those 4 workshops dedicated to these topics: fire and airport, utilities, water and wastewater, public works, which consists of streets, drainage, solid waste, and then at the end of November, parks, animal services, and other facilities here at the city. Approximately, we demonstrated there was about $175 million worth of capital needs. On about a week or so later, we came back to City Council just to give them a summarization of everything that had been presented the month prior. We understood and explained to them that $175 million is an enormous amount, and there is no expectation that all of these things are funded in a expeditious fashion, that we needed to come back and look at how we could do this in a much more manageable methodology. And so, but we also explained that there was going to be some debt rolling off at the general fund that would be paid off in September of this year, which is now, and that gave us some options from a funding perspective. And at the end, at the end of that meeting in December, the City Council asked us to come back with them with the prioritization and come up with a plan that actually can be managed and can actually be achieved. So we did that in April of this year, a few months ago. We set up another workshop with City Council specific to CIP. No other topics were there, but with the exception of the capital improvement plan and the budget. And the intent was to be able to have them help us define a priority. So just like with anything, you can't do everything at once. You have to prioritize based on not only what you can achieve, not only financially, but also what you can achieve physically. And so we set up a tiers 1, 2, and 3. Basically, priority 1 project is something that's immediate, something that needs to occur because there may be a failure issue, there may be a safety or regulatory issue. A priority 2 was something that needs to happen probably over the next 5 or so years, but again, it's not necessarily a safety issue, but certainly is something that we're watching or monitoring, and it needs to be addressed. And then tier 3, not a necessity, more of maybe more of an amenity. It may be something that allows us to be a little bit more efficient in certain things, but again, it's not a safety issue. It's more of a quality of life and enhancement. And so those are the priorities. With that same workshop, we refined some cost estimates that we needed to make for these projects, kind of sharpen our pencils. We presented those capital needs in priority order based on staff's review and recommendation. We were able to provide a number of funding options, whether it's utilization of cash, utilization of some debt dollars that were rolling off later this year, along with, we knew that we were going to be getting some stimulus monies from the federal government. So we had a number of different options and that we presented to them by project. And then at the end, really what we needed from City Council on that date, we're not expecting to spend any money. What we wanted from them is just give us consensus and the direction on proceeding. In other words, if we're going to take on these projects in tier 1A, do you believe that those priority, are they in the right order, so that we can at least spend our time on the things that are most important. So all in all, the consensus was to proceed, and so that's what we've been working on these last many months. And I'm going to go over a number of these projects. I won't go in detail, but I can give you sort of a summary of these projects that we've been working on in this upcoming budget, which would begin October 1st of this year. So we started off with the hotel fund. Many of you know that we're working with the renovations of Zion Hill Baptist Church. That's been a project that's been going on for quite some time, and we're hopefully nearing completion of the construction here sometime in the next couple of months, if not sooner. But we had also identified some other needs there at the facility, whether it be parking or some exhibits. And so we identified about just a little over $200,000, just shy of $250,000 of parking improvements that could be needed, that could be utilizing with hotel revenues. And so again, council gave us the direction to proceed on that. And so we folded that into the budget. We haven't spent the monies, but we're folding that into the budget. And that's what we've been working on these last number of months. And what you're going to see is is projects that we can fund in this upcoming budget year, which again, as I mentioned, begins October 1st. So the first one was a hotel fund with Zion Hill. The next one was in sanitation. The city owns a landfill, and so have for many years. And so one of the things that we're working on our landfills is as our community continues to thrive and trash is collected, we run out of room. And so we have the ability with our current landfill to expand within this current footprint. And so we are in the process of looking at adding a new cell, which is basically a large hole to fill the trash. And so that's what we're utilizing those monies. We're also looking at doing some permit amendments for the landfill. And so we have money set aside that we set aside in basically a sinking fund. And those monies are there to do the project. And so if the budget's approved, then we can begin the process of that project. And so we set aside $3.5 million. We have the monies on hand with cash reserves. And so the council gave us direction to proceed on April the 6th. Airport construction. The airport is a valuable asset for the city. One of the wonderful things with our airport is not only with the number of folks that obviously fly in and out of our airport that have been using it for quite some time, is the addition of the SFA Flight School. So that's been a huge boon for the airport. We utilize a lot of funding through TxDOT Aviation. And so we're able to, through some matching dollars, a 90-10 match, we're able to get $1,350,000 from TxDOT Aviation if we're willing to contribute $150,000 towards that project. So for $1.5 million, we're able to resurface our runway and taxiways. And so we have the monies to do that, the $150,000 through a general fund intergovernmental transfer to be able to obtain those $1.3 million from TxDOT. So seems like a really good deal. Council gave us the okay to proceed. We've got those tier twos, these unfunded developments that we believe that could come through future TxDOT Aviation dollars or maybe even private investment. But at this point, we're just focusing on tier one at the airport. Capital projects, we set aside approximately $1 million every year on street improvements. And we fund those through a couple of sources. One is a $250,000 annual general fund contribution that's set in ordinance. And then we also collect about $750,000 in a fee that's tacked on to the water bill. And so all in all, we capture about $1 million. And so this $5 million is over a 5-year horizon. And so again, this has been going on for quite some time. This is not a new program, but it's part of our annual budget process. And so we were able to, again, explain that to council that we set aside about $1 million. We typically we fall short of doing the things that we need to do when it comes to street maintenance. $1 million doesn't cover it. Seems like a lot, but it really isn't that much based on the conditions of our roads. And so, but again, this is the normal process in which we use these monies for, and so the council gave us the direction to proceed with utilizing these monies. Then we get into utility funds. So we demonstrated that there was probably several millions of dollars worth of utility fund needs. Primarily what we identified in this upcoming budget is just shy of $16 million that we can do in just water line improvements. We've been fortunate because of our population size that we were able to receive right at $8.1 million in ARPA, which stands for the American Rescue Plan Act, from the federal level, from the federal government. And so the council had decided to utilize that $8 million, $2 million towards water line replacement and $6 million towards sewer line replacement. You'll see that here shortly. But as you can see on this sheet, this slide is that we're identifying about $16 million worth of improvements that we're needing to do in our water line. And that doesn't come, that it is forward progress. We still have a lots to do, but we're able to use the majority of these monies for these projects through the use of excess reserves that we have in these funds, along with user fees. We charge for water, we charge for sewer. And so we know that there is an estimated amount that we're gonna obtain through those functions, and so we're able to utilize a good chunk of money from cash and a large portion from federal stimulus to be able to make some progress on our water projects, and $60 million, and that currently is budgeted in our upcoming budget. Oops. For sewer, we're showing 11.6 million. As I mentioned to you earlier, we had received $8 million in ARPA monies, 8.1, and I had 2 million in water, 5.8 million in sewer line replacements. The reason it's not 6 million or 6.1, or I'm sorry, 6.1 is we're using a consultant to help to make sure that we're keeping tabs on the use of those monies, and we're following the federal regulations when it comes to filings and audit, and again, it's complicated, but we want to make sure we do it correctly, and so we're utilizing an outside consulting firm to help us with that process. So we're setting aside just shy of $6 million through the use of stimulus dollars. The remainder is through the use of excess reserves that we have in the utility fund. So as you can see, 11.6 million for sewer line replacements, a good chunk of that for sewer line replacements that we need to do, and then some developer line reimbursements that we do as a developer tax onto our system. We work with them on that process, and then another facility at our water treatment facility to help make sure that we're disposing waste of in an appropriate fashion. On the general fund, we're setting aside $1.6 million in excess reserves. By policy, we set aside 25% of operations expenses on an annual basis, so that is around $7.5 million. We had nearly 12 million or an additional 5.5 million in excess reserves, and so we're contemplating using some of those excess reserves to help do some projects. That first line, that land acquisition, we set that project on hold. We want to do that, but we set that project on hold for another year, for our next budget year. But you can see we're looking at doing some improvements at Festival Park as our festivals continue to grow, and we're just continuing to have success at Festival Park. We need to do some electrical improvements there at that facility. We're needing to do some walkway improvements there at Lake Nacogdoches. Our fire stations, again, we have 5 fire stations, and I'll talk to that here shortly in the next slide. But we have 5 fire stations. We need to do some renovations. We set aside $25,000 annually divided up by 5 stations. That doesn't get you very far, especially when 3 of those stations were built in the 1950s. Our newest station was built in 1984, and so it is time that we make some extensive renovations through mechanical improvements, not water, but air quality improvements, because of just being able to filter the exhaust and vent the exhaust out of those facilities because of the diesel and other fumes from the pieces of equipment that we used. That $250,000 annual street rehab, that's the ordinance, that's by ordinance, we set that aside. That airport match, that 150 that I'd mentioned earlier, was set aside in cash. And then we're also needing to do a pedestrian bridge at Pioneer Park that is in really, really bad shape. And so it is dangerous. And so we need to get that replaced. And so we set those monies aside for these projects. And so again, these are excess cash reserves that we have above and beyond the 25% by policy that we set aside. And then we have, even above the 25%, we have excess reserves on top of that. This is a expected drawdown of some of our excess cash reserves to do some projects. And so we were given the okay to proceed back on April the 6th, and that's been put into the budget. So the biggest topic that we've been talking about here in these last many weeks is the CO, the certificates of obligation issuance, and 19 million, just shy of $20 million. You can see these projects. One of those is to help consolidate 2 fire stations into one. Fire Station 5, which is located in downtown Nacogdoches, and Fire Station 2, which is at the corner of Main Street and Martin Luther King Boulevard. Both of those stations were built in the 1950s. They're both small. They need major renovations. It has limitations on what equipment we can fit in those facilities. And so the intent is to be able to merge 2 of those stations into one. We believe we can find some efficiencies from an operations perspective, also safety provisions as well. It allows our firefighter paramedics to ride 3 on a truck as opposed to 2 on a truck. So we do glean some safety operations there. Plus, that station at MLK in Maine, it has, and again, it just is what it is. It has 1 toilet facility and normally houses 2, sometimes up to 3 people. And so if we have 1 toilet, 1 shower, or one bathroom, and we're starting to have just mixed genders working in our fire department. So when our female firefighter rotates through that station and they're paired up with a male counterpart, it just makes it for an awkward situation. And don't want to make more than what it is, but it just makes it awkward. It's undersized and quite honestly provides very little utility for us at this point. And so the intent is to merge those 2 stations into one, provide better coverage for the southeast ward, along with downtown Nacogdoches and other parts of the city. Currently, our only ladder truck, which has a 100-foot length ladder, is housed at Station 1, which is at Austin and North Street. That ladder truck would then be relocated to this centralized fire station to be able to address any incidents that we would have in downtown, along with Stephen F. Austin and other parts of the city on the south side of town, and down Industrial Park because it's closer to University. It allows us to be able to respond in a quicker fashion, and so that's the intent. We've got park restrooms. We have 5 park restrooms there we're needing to replace at Bonita Creek. There's 2 of them at Lake Nac West, 1 at McCrimmon, and the other one at Ritchie Park. Folks use restrooms, and our families use use our parks, and their need for restroom facilities, and whether they don't exist or they're just in really poor shape, it's time to do something with them. So we wanted to set some monies for restrooms. We've got 2 playgrounds that we've identified at McCrimmon and Mill Pond. These are replacements. These playgrounds have been in existence well over 20 years, and so it's just time to do something with these playgrounds. So we set aside about $500,000 for these projects. And then storm sewer reconstruction and repairs, about $5 million. The city currently, unless we find special funding or we do budget amendments, the city does not really extensively fund storm repairs in our city. We've had some flash rains recently. We've got facilities that are either undersized or non-existent whatsoever, or have collapsed. And so it's time to make an investment in storm sewer repair. So we wanted to set aside about $5 million in those to get us started, knowing that we have much more to do. And then lastly, we wanted to set aside an additional $5 million in street rehab. So I mentioned to you earlier that we set aside about $1 million on an annual basis for $5 million over a 5-year period. We're wanting to double that, and knowing that we could get a lot more bang for a buck if we could do more in street reconstruction in our city. They're sorely needed, and it's time. And so of that, and I'm just rounding, of that 20, those are the projects that we set aside through staff, along working with council. And so kind of give you an idea, that's really in essence, the CO, the certificates of obligation, would fund these projects. On April 6th, we presented that information to council. The consensus was to proceed and continue analyzing and bring others information to the table. And we also explained too that if we were to proceed, we would have to have some action by council in the summer. And so back on July the 19th, an item was taken to city council to begin the legal proceedings with that. That was approved 3-2 to proceed. We also explained that through the retirement of that existing debt, the intent of this new debt would be to not raise taxes. It would be basically extending or issuing new debt, but in the means to not raise or tax people more than what had already been been issued through their debt obligations of the city. And so these are the projects that were set aside. And so in summary, one thing I forgot to show you here is, here's a summarization of everything I just covered. So as you can see on the left hand of the slide of the document, or of the slide here, is about $21.5 million in general fund projects, $16 million in utilities, 3.5 in sanitation, 750,000 in streets, and again, you add the 250, it's $1 million. And then in the hotel fund, 235, and then airport 1.5 million, which of that 150,000 comes from city dollars. The remainder comes from TxDOT Aviation. And so here's the funding sources that we've identified: cash reserves of 13 million, ARPA monies, at stimulus dollars of 7.8 million, grants of 1.3, mentioned to you earlier about TxDOT Aviation. We charge user fees through water and sewer, just shy of $1 million, and again, that CO bond issuance, which was just shy of $20 million. And so, in essence, we're looking at spending budgeting $43.2 million if those COs would be approved. Again, just to summarize, we demonstrated to council that we had about $171 million worth of maintenance needs that we had. We believe through the conversations we've had with council from last year through the spring to the summer, and then in this current budget proposal, that we can address about $43 million of that, which takes on about 25% of the $171 million that was identified. We can do it through cash, we can do it through stimulus dollars, user fees, and obviously a big chunk of it is through debt. And so that's been the topic of discussion in the community. I've done a number of articles in the paper or on the news media talking about this, and so I know that's hot topic. And so again, it is what it is. It's important now because we're in the throes of the budget process. The council is set to adopt the budget in September, and so we really needed to know what the tax rate needed to be, and so we presented to City Council the much more fuller presentation than this condensed version on August 24th, and they approved it unanimously by supporting each of those resolutions with proceeding with all the projects. So at this point, we've been given the go-ahead to proceed. I know that there is discussions and there's a petition going around, and again, I know that I recognize that, and so, but at this point, we've been given the approval to proceed, but also recognize that that petition is happening, and that could potentially stop things. So with that, Wayne, that's really all I had to say. I can stop, and I don't really know how to undo me here as far as get me off from presenting, but I'll be happy to answer any questions from the group once I know how to stop doing what I need to be doing. I don't know how to stop presenting.
I wouldn't worry about that, Mario. We can see your smiling face.
Okay.
And first of all, thank you for that presentation. It's the third time I've sat through it, and I've got to tell you that I'm more convinced than ever that the council action and the city recommendations, and certainly the Chamber's board action, are all favorable as it relates to the projects you've identified. I guess the question, I have one, and then I'll turn it over to the group for any other questions. But Mario, with the recently passed federal stimulus package, is there any opportunity to bridge the remaining part of that 170 million with federal funds that remains?
You know, Wayne, I think there may be some of efforts in that. You know, with the feds, the rules are always being written or not quite finished, and so I think it's to be determined. Certainly, the ARPA monies have been designated for water and sewer projects, so we know that's a done deal if approved through the budget process. As far as any additional stimulus money that the federal level is working through again the infrastructure fund, I think we definitely will be exploring any and every option we can to get a hold of those dollars and see how they could be applied here for Nacogdoches. I mean, I think part of that is evaluating whether or not what strings are attached. But if it goes hopefully as smooth as the ARPA monies were, then we definitely would want to proceed and try to obtain those dollars. So I think the short answer is yes. I think if allowed, we would want to be able to try to bridge some of that gap so that we can use other people's monies first.
And it would be nice if the Texas legislature would allocate some of that $20+ billion of rainy day funds that have yet to be spent in the last few sessions. Some of these communities are really screaming for investment in infrastructure, it appears.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Other questions of the city manager? Well, I'll take your silence as you folks all agree with all of us that there's a real necessity, and that we commend the city for moving forward expeditiously on these projects to help make a step in the right direction here. Any final comments, Mario?
No, sir. Outside of just thank you for allowing me to present this information to this team, to this group. Appreciate, again, Wayne, giving me the opportunity to present to your board, and the fact that you all took action and unanimously supported it, and we appreciate that, and certainly welcome any questions that people may have offline, or reach out to me via email or phone call. Be happy to do that. And again, all this information resides on our website at www.nactx.us. Click on the front page, certificates of obligation. You can find more details.
Well, that's great, Mario. And please let us know if any hearings that you need support. We'll certainly turn out the troops to support your initiative. So great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm pleased. I believe Misty Wilburn is on the phone from Stephen F. Austin State University. Misty, any updates?
Good morning, Mario. That was an excellent presentation. I really enjoyed seeing all of that. So things are pretty business as usual here on campus. We are still requesting community feedback on the system affiliation. So I'm going to drop the link in the chat. So if any of you have concerns, have thoughts, have questions about the university potentially going into a state system, I would encourage you to put those into, go ahead and submit a submission. You can do that anonymously, or you can do that with your name. And like I said, I will put that in the chat. Those are the big things that we have going on here, besides, classes are back full steam ahead. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to take those though.
Missy, when will we get a sense of what the student enrollment will be?
We should have that pretty soon. It does look like our sophomore, junior, and senior numbers are going to be down a little bit. A lot of that is due to kind of the COVID effect. We do have positive enrollment in our freshman class, so that's super exciting to see. And hopefully in the next couple of years, we'll be able to see positive enrollment across all of those different age groups. But yeah, we should have that. Hopefully we'll have that information, by the next meeting.
Well, that's fantastic, and I commend Interim President Steve for the presentation he did at Eggs and Issues last week, updating us on the possibility of some type of affiliation. That was very favorable. So great, thank you very much, Misty.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
I'm not sure if we have a representative from NEDCO online or not. Do we? I do see we're fortunate to have with us Sherry Cheney Morgan, the director of Visit Nacogdoches. Good morning, Sherry.
Good morning, Wayne. Good morning, friends. We are at that time of year where we're closing out our current fiscal year and preparing for this next upcoming fiscal year ending 2023. So we've been deep in budget mode with our board of directors, and tonight I'll present the proposed budget for the CVB as well as our marketing plan to City Council. So they will have an opportunity to receive that report and hopefully approve it so that we can finalize that. Event-wise, September 16th through the 17th is the Old Town Rig Down in downtown Nacogdoches. It's the inaugural event of this kind with big rig trucks that are illuminated with LED lighting. It is going to involve concerts in the evening time and a light show in the evening time as well. So it is going to be a huge family-friendly activity. Encourage everybody to get out, get downtown, frequent our downtown merchants. It's always a double-edged sword when it comes to closing down downtown for events and whatnot. It's evening, so most of the stores would be closed anyway, but the streets are going to be closed in the daytime business hours as well. So if you can frequent our downtown shops, show them some love, we would appreciate that as well, because they certainly are cooperative in hosting, playing host of these events for our residents and for our visitors as well. In October, it will come another full moon summer concerts, back-to-back evening events, and it'll be back with our tribute bands. That information can be found on our website or on our app. And speaking of our website, something new that we have, and I know I've spoken of it here before, but we now have the functionality to serve as an Eventbrite electronic ticket sales for any group in Nacogdoches. And I want to welcome people to come and speak to Joanna and Ashley and learn the benefits of that. It really is a duplicate service for companies like Eventbrite. The only difference is the service fees that are in excess of the credit card processing fees that are a part of that stay locally. So that will go towards funding future programs for Nacogdoches. But we are happy to share that technology with our community since our hotel occupancy helped pay for that technology. And that concludes my report. Tune in to City Council or show up if you can, if you want to hear about our budget and what our plan is for marketing. But otherwise, thank you all for everything that you do every day in ways big and small that help make Nacogdoches a great place to visit.
Thank you, Sherry. Any questions of Sherry? Well, if not, I'm pleased to see you online. Anita Scott, speaking of hospitality, how's everything out at the expo, Anita?
Oh, it's going really good. We just got finished with the Jordan Shrine Circus, and that was on September the 30th. And we have, in 2 days, Calvary Baptist Church will be hosting a first responders appreciation dinner out here. And then on September the 12th, the Texas Farm Bureau will have a membership or a member appreciation dinner. And then September the 16th through the 18th, we have the Piney Woods Youth Rodeo. September the 23rd through the 25th, we have Region 5 High School Rodeo. Then we also have a gun show that is also being hosted during the same time. And we have September the 27th through the 28th, the Texas A&M Broiler Symposium. And then the 29th, Encore will have a public meeting regarding transmission lines. And then we are also getting ready for the Piney Woods Fair. That's October the 12th to the 16th. We are accepting applications for vendors. We are also looking for part-time workers to work during the fair. And we're also looking for youth ambassadors who's wanting to get some community service hours. So we've got a lot going on here at the fair or at the fairgrounds at the here at the Expo Center. And we have all of our information on our Facebook page and also on our website. Also, we have the Parker McCollum is having a concert out here November the 5th. So The tickets are going really fast. They've already sold over 3,000 tickets, and they're almost sold out on their VIP. So if anybody's music lovers, you might want to get your tickets. We have a link on our website, and you can also go to Pre-Kindle to get the tickets for that. So a lot going on here at the Expo Center, and we're very busy. So, but that's what I have going on here. If y'all have any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Any questions of Anita?
One other thing I want to say, we also have a Piney Woods steak dinner. Oh, that's on the 17th. The Piney Woods Fair steak dinner is a $10,000 steak dinner. The tickets are $100. It buys you 2 steaks. It also goes towards the kids who are showing animals. So that's just another fun event. I came close to winning one time, but I didn't win.
Well, that sounds like lots of fun. I encourage people to participate in that. Those super suppers can be a lot of fun. So,
Yes, I agree.
any questions of Anita? Well, and I went by the most recent gun show. I went by the Civic Center. You ought to also have, in conjunction with the gun show, a pickup show, because I never saw so many pickup trucks in the parking lot. It was unbelievable. 95% of them were pickups.
I agree. And speaking of pickups and trucks, I was going to tell Sherry that Stephen Melanders came out. He's one of the coordinators who's putting together the big truck show downtown. He came over and visited, and we talked. He seems very excited about the event coming up downtown. And we've shared that information on our Facebook page as well, and letting our followers know about the event. So working together, trying to make Nacogdoches, showing everybody what we can do.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, I also see online Caroline Garner from United Way. Caroline, it looks like you've got an event coming up in about 10 days. You want to share that information? Caroline, you're on mute, please. Caroline, we can't hear you.
Hi again. How many lip readers out there got everything I said? I don't want to repeat if you all got that. Anyway, sorry about that. So camera on and mic on now. Thank you, Wayne, for calling on me. I was hoping there'd be a chance to talk about this at the end and give a shout out to our annual United Way campaign kickoff. It's a party. It's not a banquet. It's a party. That's what Gary wants to make clear always. We have a great time, but it is serious business announcing the kickoff of what we call our campaign season, which is our fundraising season. It's not our running for office season. It's we're running for donor dollars actually to help support our partner agencies for 2023. We're kicking that off with another fun kickoff party at Bonita Creek Hall. It's actually a week from today. Tables are filling up, so please let us know as soon as you can if you want to attend. You can get a table for 8 for $300 or an individual ticket for $30. And we'll go ahead and get you reserved. We do take sponsorships as well. You can get more information on our website about that at unitedwaynap.org. But here's the festive flyer I was trying to show you. It's a tailgate theme, and it's casual dress, and we ask for you to just come and showcase your favorite team spirit if you want to get into the theme. But we'll have great food and a fun crowd, of course, always. We'll have music and talk about some of our partner agencies and our Work Kelly's campaign supporters. So it's always a good time and very motivating to see how everybody comes together to support our United Way agencies. So we'd love to see you there next Tuesday. Starts at 5:30, and we chat for a bit, eat, have some announcements and whatnot, and hear some really good music. So please let us know if you'd like to attend. And also regarding our campaign, we have just confirmed that once again, the generous Rex Perry is going to donate a car to one lucky donor for our 2023 campaign. So you donate my fair share or more, which is 1 hour pay per month, to be pledged to pay in 2023. Your name is entered in that drawing. And then we have a nice gathering out at Rex Fair. He makes it really fun. And there are runner-up prizes as well. But we're very excited that Rex has offered to donate another car again. Anyway, but let me know. You can call the United Way office or email us or however about the kickoff. We'll hope to see you there in a week. Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you. And we were all, I guess, saddened and excited for him at the same time to read about Gary's pending retirement from United Way. We know he's not retiring because he's got lots of irons in the fire, but Gary Lee's done a tremendous job as you have there, and he certainly will be missed. But the good news, we've still got him for a little while longer. So there you go.
Yes, exactly. And right, that was in the paper last week. So a lot of you probably already read about that. But and you know, Nacogdoches, it's all around down here. But right, so we are accepting applications for his replacement. That's actually been posted on our social media as well. So we're right. We've got a long transition. His last day will be December 31st. And as you said, it's not like he's really leaving, just officially stepping down from the CEO role.
That's great, Caroline. Thank you. And thank you for all the great work. And we'll see you on September 16th, right? Is that what?
September 13th. Actually, it's next Tuesday. Next Tuesday.
There we go.
Next Tuesday, September 13th, 5:30, Bonita Creek.
I certainly promoted it in the newsletter today that I have out on the street. So hopefully we'll get it. Any other announcements or anybody online here today? If not, first of all, thank you folks for tuning in. I want to thank the city manager, Mario, for his outstanding presentation today. And we wish the city continued success as they move this initiative forward. I want to recognize our sponsor of today's call, and that's Burke. They do so much good work in the mental health area in this community, and we're pleased to have them as a sponsor of this call. I do want to let you folks know our annual meeting, which is it's 3 weeks from today, the 27th, probably will be sold out by day end tomorrow. So if you have yet to get your individual tickets, you better get it into Barbara today because this thing will be a non-starter probably starting tomorrow. We're already pushing 500, and that's capacity for the Fredonia Hotel and Convention Center. I do want to let you know we will be doing a live after 5 the latter part of this month at the Nacogdoches Cigar Company, and that's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be on 9/29 at 5:30, and trust me, that's not one you want to miss. That's going to be an awful lot of fun. Any other comments to the good of the order, gang? If not, I thank you all. I wish you a great week, and we'll look forward to talking with you all soon again. Thank you.
Thank you.